Now let's start configuring server load balancing on our Big IP appliance. Now there are many parts to this, but we will configure this step by step in specific areas to better understand how it works on the Big IP appliance. Now the first thing that needs to be configured is a server pool, and this will list the servers that will exist in the pool that should be load balanced. Now this will also define how the servers will be load balanced, including any health monitors. To configure a pool, let's go to local traffic and then down to pools. On our pools page, we will say create. Let's set up this new pool and we will first enter a name. Now the servers that will exist in this pool will be web servers. So let's set up our name to include those details. So we'll say pool and HTTP 1 because we could have more web pools. Now let's enter a description for this pool so we know what this is for. Okay, and there under health monitors, which we will talk about later in a different video, we will select the HTTP monitor since the servers will be web servers. Now health monitors allow the appliance to monitor each of the servers in the pool to ensure that the application or service is operating correctly. Then we get to the load balancing method, which is listed first under resources. And for right now, we will leave it at round robin, and this is the default, but we will explain the different methods in a different video. For now, we want to set up a basic server load balancing configuration. Next, we have new members, and here we need to enter the IP address of each server that will exist in this pool, including the port number of the service that will be used. So based on our design that we talked about, we will have 4 servers that will exist in this pool. And each of these web servers will be using the HTTP application, which runs on TCP port 80. Therefore, let's add each of our servers starting with web server 1. So we'll first enter a unique node name. So we'll say WS01. And then we're going to enter the IP address of that server. Okay, followed by the server's port number, which will translate it to its application. So doing that, HTTP is populated for us. And then once we are done, we will click on add to add this node as a member in this pool. Now let's do the same for the others. So let's add web server 2 and specify the IP, add, and web server 3. Same port, so we'll say add, and let's add web server 4. Great. So once the details of our pool is completed, we have added everything that we need and specified what we needed. Let's go ahead and finish this configuration. Okay, so now that pool is listed on the pools page and the status reflects a green circle, which is a good thing. And that means that one or more of our web servers in this pool is online. We also see that this pool contains 4 pool members, which is reflected right here. We can view those members and their current status by clicking on the member count for that pool. Let's go ahead and do that. And doing that, you will see our 4 web servers and their status. So they're all active and online, ready to be used for load balancing requests from clients. This will also show the method for how the load balancing will work among the pool of servers. We can also see and we can change the ratio values of the web servers, which we will do in a separate video. And we can even set up connection limits. So to make these type of changes specifically, you will simply go to the server by clicking on the link like web server 1. Let's do that. And here under configuration is where you can assign the ratio value that is needed or set the connection limit. Also from this page, you can manually disable a server or force it offline to not be included in the load balancing operation for that pool. You will see that this server is listed as available and that the HTTP health monitor is also available or active, which means that the web services on that server is active, which is why it is available in this pool. But the server is listed as a pool member that we talked about before, and that means that it will list the IP address of the server and the port number that we see up here at the top. Now, when we go to the nodes page, which is a section under local traffic, let's go there. Okay, and this will list the servers that we added, but it will only reflect the IP address. Now on this page, we can also define a ratio value and a connection limit if needed. So our web server is represented as a node and as a pool member. So this becomes important when we deal with load balancing methods. Once the server pool has been added, next we need to set up a virtual server that will list our server pool and specify the virtual address that our clients will use for accessing that pool. To set up a virtual server, let's go to virtual servers, which is here under local traffic. Let's create a new virtual server. So we'll say create up here on the top. And this has many fields, but only a few of these fields are required to set up a successful load balancing topology. So from the top, let's enter a unique name for what this virtual server will do. Okay, let's enter a description as well, very similar to what we did for our pool. Okay, under destination, we will put in the virtual IP address that will be used by clients for accessing the web server farm. So based on our design, that will be the IP address of 10.254.1.10. Oops. Okay. For the service port, that will be port 80 for HTTP. And doing that, we'll populate the application name that uses port 80, which is HTTP. Next, under states, make sure that it is enabled, which it is by default. Now, under configuration, let's scroll down towards the bottom. Okay, and there under default pool, we will select our web server pool that we created earlier. Okay, and we are finished. So let's go ahead and add this new virtual server. Okay, and there we see it is listed on the page, and the status for this virtual server is green, which means it is online and available, ready to be used. So this virtual server is available because the pool itself is available, with more than one server available to accept client requests. The best page to quickly view everything that we have set up is the network map page, which is found right here. And this will show our 4 web servers that we have added to our HTTP pool, and that pool has been associated to our HTTP virtual server. So we can see that everything is green, which means that all components are available and working.